Starting my speech under 3, 2, 1. Using religion as a way to gain a personal interest, to getting a seat in Senayan, to getting in the heart of people is extremely wrong in principality. We want to respect the religion, and also we want to give a better incentive for society to open up their eyes and having to fairly judge one party or one candidate based on its merits and not its campaign, right? Three things to set up in this debate. Firstly, let's settle down the wording of this motion, right? A. How does a political campaign with religious rhetoric and symbolism looks like, right? A political campaign that uses religion as its main strategy, as it means branding and using the name and reputation of a religion that aim to get a vote, attention, and support from the people to get a vote to vote for a certain party or one individual, right? This looks like making their entire branding supporting one religion like PKB, Bulan Bintang, and many more. B. We have this problematic because it indirectly violates one religion by using it for personal gain. Will be more elaboration in my argument. Secondly, how do we ban this? How do we ban this right under the proposition side of the House? A. We will put it into law and regulation that strictly prohibit the use of any symbolism. B. We will enforce the law, and if one uses and violates the regulation, we will punish accordingly, and we will ensure that this is being applied effectively. C. For already established party, we will force them to rebrand their party to be more democratic. For preemption here, we are not limiting themselves as a religious member, but we want them to be leaning more into democracy, because in the end of the day, if they are ruling, they are not only working for one religion but all the religion for itself. Thirdly, what do we aim in this debate for? We aim for a healthy and respectful political campaign, and also to revolutionize how the public political paradigm looks like, right? Two arguments I will submit in this speech. First argument: why banning political campaign using religious symbolism is justified. Second argument: talking about how this will incentivize society to learn about politics rather than just following the religion society, right? First argument then, what does the current status quo look like? This is a very massive and apparent thing in political campaign, right? Like Anies using the image of a religious person, Jokowi using Ma'ruf Amin as a way to attract new Muslim voters, and many more. But this method of campaigning is very abhorrent to begin with. What principality do we violate if we use religious symbolism? Two things I want to say here. Firstly, realizing that this is not being used for the sake of religion but for personal gain. For example, to fulfill the interests of a party. Realizing here, religious symbolism and rhetoric is a very sacred thing, a very crucial imaginary for lots of people, which means that it is supposed to be only being used for the sake of religion because the weight of this symbolism carries. But the fact that these politicians easily use this symbolism for something that is selfish gain, for getting a seat as a president and other, violates the essence and downgrade what this symbol means, which is a very principally wrong thing to do. B. This creates a stigmatization towards a regime. For example, this regime supports Islam. This regime only making policy towards Islam, making two things happen here. Firstly, the religion image is at risk. For example, in Pilgub DKI Jakarta 2016. Secondly, this creates skepticism from other religions. For example, the Pilgub DKI Jakarta that is really pouring into Sara and whatsoever, which is a very dangerous thing because in Indonesia itself, this is very diverse. So we don't want any breakout between one religion and others, right? And what does it create? It creates a very unhealthy way of campaigning that is using religious doctrinization, using the name of a prophet or God to campaign, which in turn, yes, they do attract lots of people, but also create lots of irrational people. This is true because many people blindly vote because of religion. For example, my uncles, and all of that thing proves to you why this is principally wrong and why this will trigger issue, because the campaign is unhealthy by only prioritizing and only appealing to one demographic, which is they got chosen most likely. Which is, if they get chosen, most likely all of the things that is going to be implemented are the one that only benefits one demographic, which is creating a lot of issues and conflicts within these religions, which is making unfair law and not fulfilling the sense of demography. democracy, right? And what is the impact of banning religious rhetoric? Three things I want to say here. A, we force this political party to find another campaign method to appeal to the mass society, which makes them to be more creative, which is good because they need to be better in order for the people to gain their trust, right? B, we force them to focus towards fulfilling their mission and vision if they are chosen as the government, as the more democratic president that is also appealing for the society. See, the changes in the dynamic in the society towards politics in second argument. And why is it important? We want to make the politics to fulfill the principle of democracy, respecting the religion, and make the political awareness within society better, which is the tipping point exclusive only on the government side of the house, because opposition never could change that. Second argument, how this would incentivize society to learn about politics rather than just following religions, right? What's the premise here? Two things I want to say. Firstly, they inevitably have to utilize their intelligence. Society have inevitably have to utilize their intelligence and research to justify why they would choose a person, and they cannot simply say, oh, they support my religion, which will lead to the better political discourse by not arguing which religion is the best, but which political candidate, how this party can envision their interests the best, right? Secondly, for the context, society is starting to care about political issues. They don't care about like being formal or not, but they are learning more about the polity, and that is good. That's why we cannot follow this type of religious campaigns, because it won't work and makes them lazy to learn anyway, because the dynamic is not as interesting as right now. For example, in Bill Press 2024, where many people are starting to open up their eyes into political discourse, right? And this is a winning material only exists on the government side of the house, because government side of the house force these people to do so, to open up their intelligence, to utilize the intelligence, and also to create a public discourse, to create a public discussion within the political issue. While the opposition side of the house, the situation will still be the same because they don't change anything. They're going to stick in the car status quo, which is not going to change anything. So those two tipping point only exist in the government side of the house to propose.